Hello everyone, welcome to the Game Junk Podcast for June 2017. This is episode number 33, and my name is Sean.
My name is Frank.
And my name is Andrew.
Coming up on this month's episode, we're going to be talking E3, and pretty much exclusively E3. Lots of stuff to get into here. Probably won't be talking as much about other stuff we played. That's okay. It's going to be fun, I think. So, how you guys doing?
Good. Have you even played anything since we last recorded? It's pretty soon.
More Zelda.
Of course. That's about it.
I've played so much Horizon Zero Dawn, it's insane. That game is long. I finally platinumed it last night at 3 in the morning, and it's about 60 hours. That's the most time I've put into a game in quite a while.
Whoa. Wow.
Oh yeah, man.
And I thought I heard you say to me or text me or something that it could be the greatest game of all time. Is this true, Frank?
It was. I don't know if in finality it is. I definitely wouldn't say it's the greatest game of all time, but it's an amazing game. My small criticisms would be lots of side story, and plot starts to get a little more convoluted as you go. And I'm not into reading like journals and data points and getting all of the lore of the world. Some people are. I'm sure that's fine. The ending was pretty good, I would say, but I would say overall almost too big. Like it gets a little repetitive towards the end for me. But I still loved it. Maybe if I wasn't playing it constantly, it wouldn't have felt as repetitive. But definitely, I'd give it. I mean, I don't like giving 5 out of 5. I would probably give it a 5 out of 5.
Of course.
Wow.
It's Gorilla. My boys.
So you don't give 5 out of 5s for games very often? Is that what you're saying?
I guess I do. Fuck it. Like, why not? It's 5 out of 5.
It's gotta be. 6 out of 5, maybe?
Not a 6 out of 5. Uncharted 2 is a 6 out of 5. This is a 5 out of 5.
Okay. Interesting. So, Frank, Embers of Miriam's out.
It is out. Reviews are slow to come in, but there are a few out there. Metacritic, only Xbox One has enough reviews for a fully formed Metacritic ranking. And that baby's green. I think coming into the 78. It's super green, evergreen. And then a few others out there. So reviews are really good. And there's been a patch. People should know some of the difficulty has been improved in certain parts, and specifically the final boss has been nerfed a bit. People were really struggling with that. So if you were and you got stuck there, feel free to try it out again. And if you bought it, if you could review it or rate it on your platform of choice, that helps a lot too.
Cool. Very cool.
And
so
I
know
in the future, we'll do a deep dive episode still.
Yeah, I know some people were looking forward to that, so just to put it out there, the plan is that'll still happen, but we just had to get the E3 out there.
Yes.
As soon as possible. Hot off the presses.
Because that's what Game Junk's all about. Being current. Everyday activities.
Yes.
I've been watching so much E3. I watched every press conference live. It was the best. I love E3.
I just like that some of the press conferences were happening like on the weekend. Like it just felt like in the evenings. That doesn't seem to have happened that much in the past, but it was. I was able to catch some of them live, and although I think I prefer going back afterwards and watch them after they've been archived, because then you can just skip over the stuff you are not interested in. But yeah, so let's talk general impressions. I think we're going to be jumping around a lot, but we'll probably try to go through each press conference, at least with the major studios, and break the important announcements down. And then who knows what we'll talk about after that. We'll probably give our top 5s at the end. Best in show.
Sounds good.
But overall, good E3 or bad E3? What are you guys saying?
I would say decent E3. I would say not great, not bad. A lot of sort of look at what's coming in 2018 sort of announcements, and a lot of stuff we'd already seen before. Not too many new announcements per se, and obviously only one hardware announcement, so nothing too mind-blowing. Yeah. And everyone knew that hardware announcement was coming, so I would say decent. Middle of the road.
Yeah, I guess for me, it was okay. I think there were a few announcements I was excited about. A lot of the stuff I was the most excited about, they didn't show much. Some of the things I really wanted to see more of, including like upcoming Switch games and some PSVR stuff, there was really very little of that, I thought, in terms of new things. And not a lot of stuff that's coming out this year. We kind of already knew that it was looking like a slower holiday season this year. I think that still seems to be holding true. But there was some new stuff and a few surprises. So, overall, yeah, it was okay. Frank, what are you saying?
Yeah, I don't know if this is new Frank talking, but I thought it was really good. I liked almost everything I saw. I'm excited for a bunch of stuff, and I guess in terms of surprises, there was more than I was expecting. I don't know if that's just low expectations, but yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Now that I'm actually going through it and seeing what was there, how much actual new stuff was announced, maybe it's less than I thought, but
definitely heavy on games, though. Really heavy on games, and not so much just like filler in the press conferences. The press conferences were jam-packed with stuff in general, at least Sony and Microsoft.
Yeah, I mean, it was almost like, every year people kind of say that, oh, we just want to see the games and we don't want this other bullshit, but it almost felt like it was too much, just like trailer after trailer for me. I wanted a little more of some other stuff to discuss or to laugh at or something, but
you wanted to see the For Honor guy out there again?
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, okay, so why don't we start with Microsoft, I guess.
With Microsoft, sounds good.
Well, I guess EA was the first one technically, but
yeah, I think so. We could start with Microsoft. So the first thing they started off announcing was the Xbox One X / Scorpio. I don't know, maybe you guys talk about it. I didn't really pay too close attention because I have no interest in picking up an Xbox One X. Other than that, Xbox has continued its super confusing naming schemes.
Yeah.
With
I don't
X
think...
and Windows 10 and like all this other shit. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good name. Like, it's too similar to Xbox One S. Like, there's going to be so many people going into stores this year looking for Christmas gifts and saying, I want an Xbox One X. Oh, S or X? I don't know.
It's the cheaper one.
Yeah, the cheaper one is probably what they'll end up getting, which is probably not what was on somebody's Christmas list. But, yeah, I'm torn on this one because I already have the One S, and I don't have the PS4 Pro. I almost wish Sony was the one that had come up with another even more powerful, although I guess the One S technically isn't much more powerful, so it was more just about the 4K and all that stuff. So I don't know if I'm going to be picking this thing up. I'm neither here nor there. They spouted off a lot of technical stuff and basically proving that it's the most powerful gaming console that's out there right now. But as most people will say, I think PCs are the most powerful gaming console. So, yeah, I don't know. Frank, I assume you're picking one up?
Well, maybe not right away. I might wait till those optimum points build a bit and get it at Shoppers. I mean, I have converted recently, so PS4 is definitely... And the games for PS4 are definitely more like upfront in my mind right now. What I would say is I really like the look of the console. Nice black, simple, small. What I'm not sure about is if I kind of always wanted to build a PC. So for whatever it is, 600 Canadian, if I put a little more into getting a PC, Xbox games, which I think are the ones that will primarily, let me backtrack a bit. So for third-party games, I assume that for the most part, the the version of the game they release that's compatible with Xbox One X will be very similar in fidelity to the one that's released for PS4 Pro. Like third-party ones will have like a higher level SKU if they do that for those two consoles. I don't know how many places would do specifically like Xbox One, PS4, and then a PS4 with a bunch of features for that, or sorry, PS4 Pro with a bunch of features, and then Xbox One X with a bunch of features additionally to that. It's possible, but I would think that Microsoft would be the one that is specifically designing and making games for the Xbox One X.
Well, they did have a few games that they were highlighting that would have improvements for the Xbox One X, and some of them were third party. I believe one of them was Assassin's Creed, right?
Yeah, but it's not necessarily specific as to whether those same improvements wouldn't be on the PS4 Pro version.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So like those SKUs might be very close at the same when they're released. I don't know. That's speculation.
I would think so.
But,
I agree with you.
Yeah, you're saying the Xbox One X is technically more powerful than the PS4 Pro, but third-party developers are not going to go above and beyond what they're already doing for the PS4 Pro.
Unless maybe they get some money from Microsoft, which is possible, or they have a lot of time and money themselves, which is technically possible. But what I would think is Xbox or Microsoft are the ones that will be taking advantage of everything they can in that system. And then I think, well, all those first-party Microsoft games you can play on your PC via Play Anywhere. So if I was going to invest in something super hardcore, I would maybe just get a really good PC, and then I can have them even better on PC and still take advantage of achievements and everything else that goes along with Xbox. So I feel like that $600 would be better suited towards a PC, and I'd get pretty much the same experience if I already have a PS4 Pro. Now, obviously, that's not everyone in the world, so they might have a lot of Xbox diehard fans that want the most powerful console, or they know there's a need in the consumer base for 4K HDR content, and it's an untapped market at this point, essentially. Plus, they have a UHD player. So whether it's a smart strategy from a business standpoint, I don't really know. From a personal standpoint, I think currently I'm debating just funneling that money into a really good PC.
Yeah, it's kind of an unfortunate, like, because Microsoft is so closely tied to PCs already, they're now getting into that territory where it's like you're not giving people enough reason to stick with the console, I don't think.
But it doesn't really matter to them. I don't know how much money they make off consoles. As long as you buy, if a PC is essentially now a platform to buy Microsoft exclusive games. So that's just widening their install base for software at the same time. So
yeah.
I mean, whatever. I like a lot of exclusive Microsoft games, so I would like to play them in the best way I can at some point.
Yeah, now, speaking of exclusive Microsoft games, that was one big thing with their press conference, is they were really just trying to say the word exclusive as much as possible.
And 4K.
Yeah. But like they really wanted to highlight how many exclusives they had, but it got very confusing, and it almost, I feel like, kind of backfired, because so many of the things that they said were exclusive were just launch exclusives, or they had
not exclusive at all.
Yeah,
it
like
was very weird.
They had weird terminology for it, and it always seemed to be like, okay, how many of these are actually Microsoft exclusives? And I don't know if there was more than a handful.
I don't think very many at all.
Yeah, which to me, like, it seems like if that's still a big deal, and if people still care, like, that's when it comes to the console war, who has the best exclusive games? I feel like everybody's on Sony's side right now. There's not a lot of people willing to risk it with Microsoft because they have the smaller install base, and apparently they can't throw enough money at these people to make it worth their while. So,
yeah, and the really weird thing to me is just, I've talked before about, it seems like there's waves from each company, where 2 years ago Xbox announced a lot of exclusive stuff, and then Sony did last year, and Xbox was just kind of standing pat with their lineup. And I was expecting Microsoft to come back big time this year with a bunch of new announcements, and there really wasn't any. Like, we'd heard of Crackdown before, Dragon Scale or whatever has been canceled. There's
Did they announce Forza 7 yet? Or was this the first announcement of Forza 7?
I guess
everyone knew it was coming, but
everyone knew it's coming, right? So I don't think that's a big deal. I don't even count that. Cuphead, we've heard about for many years. And like to me, the biggest exclusive new announcement was the new Ori, Will of the Wisps. And they showed Sea of Thieves, and I mean, I think it looks pretty good. Gameplay wise, I don't know how much fun it looks like though. I like some of the design ideas. So the idea that someone's holding the map and has to read it, and there's like this kind of real physical interaction taking place virtually that makes gameplay hinge on cooperation and communication, kind of like something like Star Trek Bridge Crew or other. There's some other space simulator games where each person's in charge of a different task. Like that stuff could be a lot of fun, but I don't know. I'm not 100% convinced on that yet.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few other pirate games coming out, or I mean, I guess, you know, there's still the Assassin's Creed Black Sails game, which is kind of the gold standard, I guess, for pirate games right now. But it definitely is going for more of a cartoony vibe, I would say. And
which I like.
Yeah, that's kind of something that differentiates it, I guess. But there's a lot of games going for kind of like the Destiny massively multiplayer but not RPG type thing. And I feel like it's kind of in that zone, although I'm not entirely clear on like is it just an open world, you know, keep doing missions kind of thing, or is there an actual campaign with a story that you finish?
I'm not sure. I guess the other
screen time and not really too much information.
Yeah.
A lot of stage time, I mean.
I still feel like it's a ways away, that game, so.
It said early 2018 at the end of the announce or the demo they showed.
It
so
did?
It's not too far. At least that's what I've written down.
Yeah, but they didn't show, I mean, no Halo or Gears of War, really. I guess was there Halo Wars 2? Was that in there somewhere?
I don't think so.
Just that it was going to be like automatically Xbox One X compatible and
right, yeah.
Up-res to 4K on its release.
Yeah. But, I mean, why they wouldn't be showing those games, especially because to me it almost feels like the franchises need a bit of a break, maybe. But there was a rumor that there was going to be some sort of Halo thing announced, right? Like an ODST kind of thing or something. Did you guys hear about that?
No. I'm way more in favor of if you don't have anything to show, don't show it. And we'll get to that with Nintendo. I mean, anyone can put together a little After Effects thing saying we're working on a game. Like everyone, like Michael Pachter would say this all the time. We all know you're working on a Halo game. If you don't have anything to show us, you don't need to tell us you're working on a new Halo game. Like none of these things are surprises. So unless you have something to actually get people excited, it actually is more revealing that you don't have anything to show if you just say the name of something.
But I mean, I think it does still reflect in a way, like maybe they're rethinking the franchise. They don't know where they're going next. Like I feel like a Microsoft press conference, you still want people to know in the back of their mind, yes, there's going to be more Halo or Gears of War coming down the line, and they didn't do that. So either they're very confident with what they had to show, or like I said, maybe they're rethinking things. I don't know.
Unless they're working on, I mean, the only thing that would really, I think, move mountains in a way is a VR Halo. If the next Halo was completely VR, I think people would lose their shit.
That could be very interesting.
Oh, speaking of VR, there was no Oculus. Wasn't there some sort of partnership with Oculus and Microsoft?
Yeah, announced? No Oculus and no HoloLens stuff at all.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that.
I thought they probably didn't need to show anything from Gears or Halo because they had the longest press conference, I think, by quite a bit. And they showed quite a few games. You don't really need to add to it. I think they had a good enough press conference where they probably could have taken it off and not had to really worry about it. Feel pretty confident in what they were putting out.
Well, the one exclusive we didn't mention was State of Decay 2, which, I mean, I didn't think looked that great, to be honest. I haven't played the first, so...
I liked the first game. I didn't play it too much, but it was kind of neat. And I would be interested in picking up 2, or playing it at least for a little bit. But it looks like probably it's a lot of the same.
Yeah, I mean, graphically, like, as an Xbox One X, I don't know, showcase title or something like that, it wasn't necessarily showcasing the system to me or blowing me away. But the other games, just a way out, I was just doing some research to see which ones are actually exclusive. A Way Out is the one from the creator of Brothers that starts as a Prison Break. It is not exclusive.
Oh, not.
So I'm just confirming some of these. Assassin's Creed Origins is obviously not exclusive. Far Cry 5.
The Metro game, obviously not.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure about that one.
It might be PC and Xbox only.
Oh, really?
Might be.
I don't know. And what was the other one they showed? Oh, Anthem, which to me was the most impressive thing, possibly of the whole show, like in terms of graphics and presentation, and felt like a game. Like I felt like I was actually watching gameplay. The Metro thing, it looked amazing, but it didn't feel like a game. It looked like a pre-rendered kind of pseudo gameplay type thing. If I'm wrong,
very scripted. That's
amazing. But I didn't necessarily see gameplay in that. Like I would never climb up a ladder and look back down to see what was coming at me. That's like, there's camera moments in there that are not player driven movement. So it looked awesome. Don't know if that's what the game is like. And the other one was like Anthem just felt like someone was playing it and was very impressive to me.
Could you double check a few more? Are you on your computer there? What about the Darwin Project?
Darwin Project is exclusive to Microsoft, as is Metro Exodus as of right now.
Really?
Yeah. But that Darwin Project actually looked like, that presentation was the most cringeworthy one I think I saw, where they had an announcer trying to make this game look exciting, and it's hard to make an e-sport exciting if you have no context as to what's happening.
Yeah, and I've never seen it before.
It's like watching a sport and not knowing what sport you're watching, and someone trying to make you think it's good.
And wasn't the guy using all the like terminology from the game too that no one's ever heard before?
I think so. It was bad.
Yeah.
And then what was the game you were gushing over, Huck City? It was like
the last night.
Yeah, the last night, right?
Yeah.
That's the one I wanted to see. If it looked amazing. I don't know what it is, but
yeah,
I'm with you.
There was also a MMORPG called Black Desert. They had Artful Escape, Code Vein.
So these are all indie games you're talking about, right?
Yeah, I think so. Ashen.
Yeah, Ashen, that's exclusive, I think. I don't know about the last night. I don't know if that's exclusive or not. But
it is. It is.
Really?
Currently exclusive, yes.
Whoa.
That's cool. I mean, it looked, it was kind of like a cyberpunk thing. Looked kind of maybe like Another World or that kind of game.
Yep.
Not
a lot to go on from the trailer, but visually it looked very interesting.
Well, the visuals were incredible. Like, just from a technical aspect. Let's get into it right now. This is so pretty, this trailer. They don't even, it's like maybe 30, 45 seconds long, but the way they merge pixel art with like 3D physics objects, with 3D lighting, with all the parallaxing, with obviously rendered in 3D like vehicles and things, and reflections on water. Just incredible. Like, they must have spent 3-4 months on this trailer, and it looks incredible.
Yeah, I did a quick look to see if I could find more info on the game, and I guess they did it like a 2D pixel art version of this game that's like you can play it online in a browser.
Yeah.
But obviously I guess they just use that as the jumping off point for what they're making now, which looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's not showing up on a lot of best of lists though, so I don't know if it was playable or what people thought of the actual gameplay. So
yeah. And I mean, obviously we weren't at E3, so we don't have anything really to say in terms of gameplay, but
There was another free-to-play game, Battle Royale style. I can't remember what it's called. I completely tuned out during this.
Was that Black Desert game?
Was that the
No,
Battlegrounds?
Battlegrounds, that's it.
Oh, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. That is the rage on PCs right now.
Yeah.
So I can understand why Microsoft jumped all over getting them in their press conference.
Yeah, just not for me. Apparently it's a big deal.
Yeah, I think it's like Hunger Games type thing where, so that game, from what I've heard, is you're dropped in a map almost like, I don't know, any survival shooter that's out there right now. And there's like closing in concentric rings that funnel all the players to the middle. And it's basically like King of the Hill, last one to survive kind of thing. And I guess it's fun to do that. Team up and try to survive as long as possible.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds kind of interesting. I don't know if... I feel like it's like a game mode for like an existing shooter, like not a whole genre unto itself, but...
Yeah, well...
What do I know? So apparently... we were talking... You mentioned Anthem, Frank.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree, it looks pretty impressive, and it's definitely like... You could see that it's just merging Titanfall and Destiny, essentially. But I like the gameplay demo that they had, I thought looked really cool, with the exception of the actors acting like people playing online and being like,
yes.
Oh, hey, there's that
Hey,
mission.
Paul, what's going on?
We should call it Paul next time. You know what? Paul would really love this
Yeah.
quest we're doing.
Yeah, that was kind of lame. But I like that. I actually really liked Assassin's Creed Origins, and I'm surprised they gave a lot of time to big third-party games like this that aren't exclusive. I guess they had the Xbox One X enhancement thing as their reasoning for that, but yeah.
I know why they do stuff like that, because for some reason, if they have a bundle that has, maybe the Xbox One X will have a bundle with Assassin's Creed Origins. It's almost like, I've talked about this before, people think that it's exclusive to it. Like, by associating yourself with it at these conferences, like, not everyone knows or does the research to find out what's exclusive.
That's a good point, yeah. And that probably does happen. But, I mean, Assassin's Creed has always been, multi-platform. I can't think people would be like, oh, wow, this one's only on Xbox. It just seems crazy, but...
Yeah, no, but a lot of people think at one point thought Grand Theft Auto 5 was PS4 exclusive, so...
Yeah, that's true.
I can't believe no one tried to get a Red Dead announcement or gameplay thing.
Rockstar does their own thing. They don't give a shit.
Rockstar shut them all down. Assassin's Creed, though, so there was no Assassin's Creed game last year, right? Is that
That's right,
correct?
yeah.
So it seems like, it potentially will be worth the wait. Like, I've played a little bit of Black Flag or Black Sails,
Black Flag.
Black Flag, and I played a little bit of the one that came after that. That's about the extent of my Assassin's Creed experience, and yet something about this one, I'm thinking I probably will pick it up. Like, I feel like it would be cool just to wander around this particular setting
Of Egypt, which I don't think we mentioned.
Yeah,
I thought it looked incredible as well. Animal life, completely amazing. Hippos, the flamingos. Oh my god, amazing! I'm in. I'm definitely in on this game. I think from what people are saying, it doesn't have an animus portion. I don't know if that's actually true or not, which is the part where it always cuts back to a futuristic world where you're plugging in to play the assassin, that people seem to not love about these games. I've never had a huge problem with it, but they have not yet acknowledged whether or not that's part of the game.
Yeah, I've played a bunch of the Assassin's Creed, but I've kind of fallen off, and I don't think
I love Black Flag, and this is the team that did Black Flag. So
yeah. So I did like Black Flag. I didn't beat it, but I don't know if I would pick this one up. I mean, it seemed like from the trailer, which was long, obviously the game looks incredible, but they didn't really show anything different really from all the other Assassin's Creed games, except that you now have your own eagle, which essentially is just replacing you climbing up high.
I think it's actually replacing like your vision. You know, when you would hit in the thing and the screen would go kind of blue and highlight targets. Mm-hmm. That's your new way of highlighting things permanently in the game.
Well, either way, I mean, it's not like that's going to add a lot to the gameplay. Having to fly your thing around and manually mark everything you see.
Yeah. I don't necessarily love tagging gameplay mechanics, and I only use them when I really need to in games.
Yeah, I mean, there's a place for it, but I don't think it's like a game seller.
Yeah,
I agree.
So what else? I mean, there were, I guess there's the backwards compatibility thing.
Yeah.
Is that worth talking about? I mean, that they're really going all in with it, I guess, as something that they're setting themselves apart from Sony on. Are people really using this, and do people care about original Xbox games? That seems like a bit of a stretch to me, but
I personally don't think there are many good Xbox games in general that you can play that you couldn't get on Steam right now.
Yeah.
I'm currently playing Psychonauts.
Yeah, but are you playing it on Steam?
No, I'm like, it's an Xbox game, right? Like, I'm playing it on I'm playing it on PS4, which is a PS2 classic, which is the same as Xbox.
Yeah, yeah.
And what I was going to say was, I'm definitely noticing how far controls have come with games like this.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I have a burning desire to go back and revisit a ton of these games. And the one thing they certainly didn't mention, to my knowledge, is whether or not these games would have achievements or not. Mm. And if they don't have achievements, get the fuck out. No one cares.
I went back and I looked at like a top 25 list on IGN or wherever of like Xbox games, and it was, other than maybe like some of the Siberia games, which I think are like essentially point and click adventure games that I never tried. Almost every other game either is on PlayStation or Steam or is Halo.
Yeah.
And there's like really nothing else of
the other ones
Xbox games that I really saw that I would be interested in using the backwards compatibility for.
Crimson Skies was the one they showed. I don't have a huge passion for that game. I would say the one that I'm expecting that I would actually really want to get is Conker's Bad Fur Day. And I'm wondering if that was intentionally withheld from the Rare replay, anticipating this.
Interesting theory.
Wait, why would they hold it back?
Because they're essentially like including it with a package that's $30, knowing they can charge 10 or 15 or 20 for it as part of backward compatible program when it's ready on its own.
Oh, but you're assuming they're going to release the games on the storefront?
Yeah, they are.
Oh, okay. I thought it would be more just like pop your disc in.
Well, you can pop your disc in, but it just downloads it. And if you bought them digitally on Xbox 360, which had Xbox originals, those carry forward as well.
Oh, okay.
And if you will be able to buy them from the store. I do think it's cool that Xbox is kind of trying to have your purchases carry over all the time, and even retrofitting past purchases. I think that's an honorable thing that most
it's definitely one up on Nintendo.
Developers should strive
it's
for.
like 25 up on Nintendo.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a cool thing to have. I just, they said I think over 50% of Xbox One owners have played a backwards compatible Xbox 360 game. That's not like amazing statistics, but yeah, I think that whole generation, there might be games you have nostalgia for, but then you go back and play them and it's rough. There's nothing that comes to mind that I need to play.
I know what comes to my mind. College Hoops 2K8. That needs to get on that backwards compat list. It's mandatory.
I actually liked, there was a couple of the 2K NHL games that came out on the original Xbox that I thought were pretty good. Among the last NHL games I really ever actually put
Dove
time
into.
into. But yeah.
I don't think any sports games will ever be backwards compatible.
Yeah, maybe not.
What else do we got here? Oh, I don't know how much you guys care about this, but they talked about Minecraft uniting on all platforms, which is kind of cool technically, how they're, letting all architectures kind of talk through the cloud.
Yeah, and it's also happening with Rocket League, apparently.
Yeah, that's right.
But then PS4 just blocked it today, or Sony blocked it.
Sony is saying no thanks to both of those, which has some people kind of pissed off. I don't know if they did give some reasoning for it, but it seemed pretty thin to me.
Yeah.
I think they just said we have to worry about our users and their experience, and we can't control what's happening on these other services and stuff.
Kind of makes sense. But I mean, if you're playing Minecraft, you're probably not going to be a dick just because you're on Xbox.
Well, no, we've all played online games and we know the temperament and language and quote unquote harassment that can happen on there. So, I mean, if someone gets harassed or complains when they're playing on PlayStation 4 by someone on Xbox or PC or trolled by them, then who's responsible for that? Why, if Sony has to handle the customer service for that, why would they? And they can't ban anyone or do anything about it.
I guess that does make sense.
I don't think that's that big a deal, honestly, but I don't understand why anyone even cares about this. I'm just, to
the only
me,
thing I can see from like a kid's standpoint is like,
I guess,
Sean gets a PS4. Now we have all the exclusives without having to have both consoles, each of us.
Yeah, that's true.
And then if we want to play Minecraft together, we can, or Rocket League together, we still can.
Yeah, and I mean, Minecraft, I believe it's also mobile as well, right? Like iOS and stuff. And so bringing all that together is kind of cool. I don't know how many games would really benefit from this, but I could see it with Minecraft. On the flip side, they also announced Minecraft in 4K, which...
Did you see my tweet about that? I retweeted some guy, and it was like, Minecraft in 4K, and it was like the exact same picture.
Yeah. Kind of amusing.
Yeah.
And I can't think of too much else that was announced at the Microsoft press conference. I think their press conference overall, like just on a technical level, was the most, like the best put together and seemed to flow the best. And they kind of went back and forth between trailers and some gameplay stuff and talking to developers. And I thought it was a really good mix and it flowed well. Yeah,
their screens were pretty cool. I guess I don't necessarily agree. I prefer the simplicity of just videos of the PlayStation conference without all the hoopla, a little less talking from PR figures or CEOs, the better for me as far as I'm concerned. So, unless it's Jack Tretton.
That they talked a lot about, actually, was Shadow of War, which they had a pretty big chunk of their stage time allotted to, and personally I skipped through the entire thing and didn't want to watch any of it because
Middle Earth game.
Yeah, it just seemed like they were talking about the orcs and the companionship, whatever they call that system they have.
Yeah, they're just showing off like all the different insults that the orcs could throw at each other.
Yeah,
and
it seems so long too. It was like 5
Well,
minutes.
I think the focus was an idea of even more specific, customized experiences or unique personal experiences through the Nemesis system. I guess I didn't really grasp what was unique about it. Maybe there's like dialogue can come from different sources in this version, or the look of your biggest enemy might be different on your console from someone else's. I'm not sure, but I'm still excited for the game. But it is not exclusive technically. So, but I do want to say one more thing. Phil Spencer is awesome. I love that guy. Like Jack Tretton used to be my favorite, and now that he's gone, out of all the heads of gaming companies and people who seem to care the most about games and feel relatable as CEOs or leaders, Phil Spencer is the best for me by far.
Yeah, I would agree.
He's cool. He's all right.
Who's better, Sean?
Reggie, man.
Fuck that. Well, we'll get to that. Oh my god.
But yeah, on the topic of the Middle Earth game, at the very least, it kind of made me want to go back and actually play the first one, which I never did. So, but I don't know how much more this brings to the table beyond what the last one had. So, but it's cool, and it is coming out this year, right? So that's something.
Yep.
So why don't we talk Sony then?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So you were saying, Frank, you preferred the simplicity of just kind of trailer after trailer. I mean, in theory, that's kind of an admirable thing, like cut out all the bullshit, just show us games. But it felt very strange. Like so it started off with the pre-show thing, which I was confused by. It seemed to go on longer than expected. But then once the actual show started, there were so many moments where a trailer would end and you'd kind of just see the stage, a darkened stage for like 10 or 15 seconds, and it was like, is something not working? What's going on here? What are we waiting for?
It was almost like they were trying to hide the like developer logos, like put them at a distance before they like cut back to the full screen.
Yeah,
of the.
That's true.
I don't know why they would do that, but
I guess
was there not a weird audio glitch at the beginning too?
There definitely was. So during the Uncharted Lost Legacy, I was watching through PlayStation Live, and there was zero audio. I couldn't hear any audio in the game. I eventually switched to IGN. I don't know if they were just bumping it up on their end or what, but yeah, there was definitely audio problems.
Oh, the feed I watched like quite later, I think also didn't have it. And also for some of the Horizon Zero Dawn DLC, I think it was missing some of the audio too. I think it cut in like halfway through.
So, I mean, for me, Sony, the biggest compliment I can give any game, and this is why I prefer video, is Sony is the best at just, you're watching someone play the game, and they're not explaining to you what they're doing. The game is explaining it. The game has every visual, audio, narrative cue you need to know that someone is playing a game. It's not a canned thing, but I can see the decisions they're making. I would make the same decisions if I was playing the game. I see what's a cue to jump out of the way. Like, that's the biggest compliment I can give. All these other demos, I don't know how I'm going to play it. I don't know what's going on. With Spider-Man and Days Gone, and previously with Horizon Zero Dawn, I know I'm watching someone play an amazing game, and I could play it just the way they do, and I would know what to do. And that is my favorite type of demo at E3. 10 minutes of an amazing game, and I can see this is what my experience would be like playing this game. This isn't some canned bullshit, and they're not telling me what they're doing at every moment and explaining some intricacy of the game. I am third person playing the game, and I am loving it. And there was 2 games like that in this. Days Gone, and more specifically, Spider-Man was absolutely amazing. I loved it.
Yeah, those were good demos. That's for sure.
I wasn't feeling Days Gone as much as I thought I would. Like, I'm sure it's going to be a good game, and I'm sure I'm going to pick it up, but I don't know what it was. Like, maybe it felt a little too Walking Dead for me, where it just felt unnecessarily violent at times, and it just kind of was like, I don't know if I need to be in this world. It didn't call to me in a weird way.
I'm definitely not planning on picking it up either. I did think it looked pretty. I think it looked very Uncharted 4-like in its gameplay and kind of personality, with like the zombies added in. And I mean, the zombies don't interest me really.
Yeah, my biggest criticism in general of that game, and with Sony in general, would be all of their games are starting to feel exactly the same. Almost reskin versions of the same experience. Like, they're all pushing towards, even God of War, Last of Us. They hit this amazing pinnacle with The Last of Us, and to me it's had a negative impact on other games, where it felt the need to propagate down to Uncharted, which I thought was fine as the way it was. It was a unique action-adventure game. And now I'm seeing every game, including God of War, becoming a reskin version of The Last of Us, which is not the worst thing in the world. Those are all amazing games. So I'm not complaining ultimately. I would rather have those, but I just wish, to nitpick, there was something a little more unique or differentiating between all these games in terms of the flow of gameplay. I will say Horizon does do that. It has enough new ideas while building upon those principles of the other games that it does that. So I hope Days Gone does. What I loved about it was the idea of using zombies like almost like your ammunition by manipulating them to attack things for you. I think that's a cool idea. And even last year, I still like the idea of swarms of zombies. I don't know if a game has portrayed the look of swarms of zombies as good as this one. All that being said, I also have zombie burnout. Getting a little sick of zombies. Was sick of them 5 years ago. Still am.
Yeah.
I'll probably go play Dead Rising 3 or 4 before I pick up Days Gone. That's just sitting in my Steam library right now.
No chance. I guarantee when the reviews for Days Gone come out, you change your mind.
I don't know. We'll see. But even like the original trail, like I must say, after this trailer or this gameplay demo, I was much more interested in it than last year's. Whenever the gameplay demo they showed, where it was more like them just killing zombies. I thought it was going to be more like a Dead Rising type game than just like this one looks more like a clever solving puzzles to fix your issues, using the zombies like you were saying, Frank. But that's why I guess I don't know what to think of this game, because there's sort of two main gameplay demos out there, and they're both kind of conflicting as to like how you play the game. Maybe there's just the two ways you can play the game, but
it's Last of Us with like a Sons of Anarchy vibe to me. That's all it is. It's appealing to a Sons of Anarchy crowd, bikers, badasses. Not necessarily my favorite thing in the world, but I'm in. I think it looks better than I ever would have thought it would.
Well, I guess we'll see when the reviews come out, like you said.
I'm going to say right now, let's do Metacritic 86.
Bold.
Sounds feasible. So what else? So I guess big surprise was the Shadow of the Colossus
remake.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which this will be the third time I buy this game. I may actually play it this time. We'll see.
Same for me, and I have to say they're improving some of the controls, and it looks amazing. So definitely one of the highlights of the show for me. I was not expecting it, and I almost fired it up on the PS2 version on PS3 recently because I've been dying to play it. So I might hold off now for this one.
You gotta, man.
It looks good. It looks real good.
Yeah, I agree.
I can't imagine me playing it just because I beat it when it first came out, and when the HD collection came out, I played a bit of Eco and never even got around to touching Shadow of the Colossus, so I don't think I'll ever even dive into this one. I don't really have a need to. I really like the first one. It's kind of like, for me, it's kind of like Journey. I played Journey once. I loved it. I don't really need to go back and play it again. I kind of feel the same way with Shadow of the Colossus right now.
Yeah, and I mean, if I had already played it, I probably would be saying it's just another remake. Who cares? But, I'm interested. I certainly don't think it's like...
Definitely worth playing if you haven't played it before.
Yeah.
Fuck, Huck City's playing hard to get on this thing. Holy shit.
Yeah, and we're on Sony here. Like, jeez,
my bread and butter, I know.
So
we might have to switch hats on the logo.
Maybe. Yeah. I want to talk about the Lost Legacy trailer, though. I thought this looked much more interesting to me, even though I couldn't hear really what was going on. But it looked like Uncharted returning to more puzzles, at least definitely more puzzles than Uncharted 4. And that has me really excited. Like, I don't really care who I'm playing as. I don't need to be playing as Drake to solve puzzles. I'm fine playing with the two girls. I can't remember their names right now. Nadine and something. Chloe, maybe. And I mean, I think it'll be fun. They'll probably have like co-op puzzles built in or some sort of mechanic. And And I'm excited to play this. I think this will be hopefully kind of like a return to form for Uncharted puzzle creation and puzzle solving that Uncharted 4 wasn't for me.
Yeah, I think if you bought a certain version of Uncharted 4, which I think I did, you get this for free automatically.
Oh, really?
Which, yeah.
I hope I bought the right one. I just bought the
basic
digital version.
Yeah, you're out, bud. You gotta get this.
I already pre-ordered it, so I'm in. But yeah, I think it has the potential to be something a little different within the Uncharted universe. So
I know it seems like it could be annoying, but I love how Sony does like these standalones and extra content for all their games, specifically the good ones. So it was like that with Infamous, and now this. And I found out later Frozen Grounds, the Horizon Zero Dawn expansion, isn't like a unique title. It doesn't. It's just an add-on. So it's a little different in that regards, but when Sony does DLC or additional content for games, they do it right.
So what else we got here?
Monster Hunter World was announced. I don't know if any of you guys were interested in that trailer or that gameplay thing we saw.
I'm seeing that fucking thing of the guy sitting down with a piece of meat over the barbecue everywhere. Like, Is this a big deal that I'm not aware of? I've seen this thing 20 times.
Well, Monster
Who gives
Hunter
a
is huge
fucking
in
shit?
Japan, right?
Yeah.
I have no idea how popular it is here, but
It's pretty popular. I think the monsters looked really cool in it. It actually had me intrigued.
I thought the demo was really like choppy or something was off to me about the demo. I don't know what it was, but I was not interested at all in what they're throwing down. I'm just like hating on every game apparently.
Although it's got a lot to live up to because the monster hunting in Horizon is amazing. So if anything, that has me a little hopeful that other games have a template for how to make battling huge monsters doable and compelling at the same time.
I guess the big thing with Monster Hunter is like the online aspects though, right? Isn't there some sort of online?
Yeah, I think it's a big co-op multiplayer game.
Yeah, so I mean they didn't really go into that in this demo, but I'm sure that'll play into, you probably get to work together to take down some of the bigger monsters or whatever, which might be some of the appeal.
Yeah, could be kind of fun, I guess, but not really my thing, probably.
Nope. They showed Call of Duty World War II. I think this is the first time they showed this anywhere. Thoughts? I thought it looked pretty neat. Looked like World War II. New gen. Next gen.
Yeah, I'm excited for a World War II game. Looked pretty good.
Okay, next. VR. They did the whole VR. They did Skyrim VR. Star Child VR, which I don't know what the hell that was because none of it I can understand how would be played in VR.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't know what was going on there.
Yeah, that was a pretty bad trailer, I thought.
Yeah, and then they did a game called The Inpatient, which was you kind of in insane asylum, it looked like.
Yeah, it's by the people who did Until Dawn, I think, right?
Supermassive?
Yeah.
They had another game, too, in the VR section called Bravo Team, so which was like the army shooting game. They must have... Sony must be throwing VR money at these guys.
I was glad to see that there was at least a follow-up on VR, and I'm excited for Skyrim VR and Fallout. I don't know if that's on PS4 or not, and the Doom one.
Yeah, the Doom one I'm interested in.
But I don't know if it's the full game or not. There really haven't been many details on whether you have to rebuy the game, whether it's an add-on. That's the thing.
It sounds like a new game, but no. I was a little disappointed. At least there was some VR stuff in there, but I was hoping for another big sort of AAA thing to look forward to that's not just like a remake of something that
you got
existed.
You're forgetting Final Fantasy 15 Fishing, obviously.
Which You know, that's the kind of quirky game I could actually see myself maybe getting into. But it's just the Final Fantasy thing. Like, I know nothing about Final Fantasy. But
no one knows anything about Final Fantasy.
Yeah, but it is kind of hilarious. Like a fishing game, but set in a fantasy universe with giant fish. Like it could be hilarious and amazing. I don't know.
You and Kieran just sitting down for a little fish every once in a while?
Yeah, maybe. I used to play, I remember I loved Super Black Bass on SNES.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Could bring that back.
This is like the new Sega bass fishing or Sega marine fishing.
Yeah.
There you go.
And I love those with the fishing controller.
Yeah, right.
So there was one more VR game they showed called Moss. It was that one with like the mouse.
Yeah, it's like a third-person kind of adventure in VR.
I don't know. That's the thing. These trailers are so hard to tell what the actual gameplay will be like in VR. This game I actually thought I'd be interested in if it was like a regular game. So I don't know what the VR experience is going to be, but I thought it looked kind of neat, almost like a Zelda-y mouse game.
There is another Zelda-y mouse game that's not VR. What's it called? I talked to the guy at GDC. I'll look it up. But I think there is a marketplace for 3D adventure games, like not necessarily first-person games in VR. The ones I've played, like Wayward Sky and even the VR Playroom and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I was mentioning this to Huck City. So there was actually a game at the Microsoft press conference that was like a platformer originally done in VR for Oculus.
Oh, yeah, Lucky's Tale.
Yeah. And so it's weird because somehow it's, I believe, a Microsoft exclusive on consoles, but it's not in VR. How did this not end up on PSVR? And it seems like pretty cool. Like it looks like kind of a Mario knockoff, but it actually looks pretty fun. And
because it's Oculus, like Oculus owns it.
Yeah, I guess that explains it. But it's kind of like that Sony Playroom platformer that they have that was actually pretty cool. Like I want to see something like that on the Sony VR, and they don't have one right now. So
yeah, I agree.
Kind of a bummer. They also did have Super Hot VR, which looked interesting.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of games that I'm glad I held off playing.
Super Hot,
including Super Hot.
VR.
Yeah, it seemed like a good fit because it's
though probably harder.
Yeah, maybe.
So you have to kind of turn around 360, and that might be a little iffy on the old nausea meter.
But because everything's kind of in slow motion, at least it's not as...
You can go at your own pace, I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
But it might be interesting. Maybe they'll retool it and design some of the levels to work more for VR.
Yeah.
So should we get in the big hitters here?
Yep.
God of War.
Yeah, looking forward to it, but just not wowing me like I was hoping it would. I mean, Frank kind of already touched on this. It definitely seems influenced by The Last of Us. I don't know. Like, I bought God of War Ascension and didn't even put it in. So maybe that's an indication that what they had done up to this point had run its course. But I'm kind of now feeling like, I don't know if this new direction is totally what I want from God of War.
Yeah. And the gameplay for me, what they showed, like of the combat, looked pretty button mashy. And they seem to really show off that like axe throw boomerang move, which just seemed like a way to clear out enemies while you get trapped in an animation where you can't move. And that kind of stuff is not that fun to play. So
holy speculation, Batman! Come on,
it wasn't speculation. I was watching them play.
God of War is a button mashing game. Like there's combos to it. That's what at least I was glad to see an original God of War gameplay in there. This thing looks fucking amazing. It looks so good. It's got a cool, unique setting. I mean, the snake monster, whatever that thing is, that's reminded me of the turtle in Neverending Story. You have all these huge scale moments that I love in God of War. It seemed like a return to form for God of War for me. Now, I am probably a bigger fan of the series than you guys. Like, I love 1, 2, and 3, both PSP games. Thought Ascension was underrated from what I played, although they really borked the hard difficulties on that game because they tried to make it co-op. But I'm in. This is probably my most anticipated game.
Whoa.
Currently.
Foreshadowing.
No. It won't be on my E3 list.
Oh, okay.
Because I was like already aware of it. I'm like, yeah, this is what I expect. But
Gotcha.
I agree. In terms of what they had previously shown last year and this year, not a whole lot more to expand upon.
Yeah, was this... And this is 2018, right?
Yeah, it said early 2018.
Early, baby.
Yeah. Does Sony have anything 2017 holiday?
I don't know. I don't have it written down, but when Detroit was, I don't know. If
No,
they
it's
had a
not
date.
for sure. It's not for sure.
Destiny.
I mean,
2,
they have.
maybe?
Destiny 2 is this year, yeah. But
That's on Xbox though. Sony's had 5 exclusives already this year, and they're the best 5 games of the year. So what do you want?
It's true. It's surprising that they would just not have anything for the holidays. There's got to be something that I'm missing, but it does seem a little light.
Well, maybe they thought Xbox was going to come with something, or maybe everything just got pushed. When is
yeah, it did happen, I think.
when is the Uncharted Lost Legacy dropping? Did they say?
August 22nd.
Oh, okay. So that's kind of holiday window a little bit. I mean, I guess that's more summer, but
It's definitely the big Sony release of the rest of the year in my mind. But
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if there was something else. What else you got on your list there?
Detroit. Yeah. I mean, this game is right up my alley, and everyone else can hate it. I just love this game. And it looks kind of like Blade Runner meets the Matrix storyline type thing. And it looks... The only thing I can say is it looks a little overwhelming just from the pure amount of options they're going to give you. The permutations, the amount of storylines they have to handle is mind-boggling to me. I don't know how they're going to pull this off.
Is this Quantic Dream, Huck?
Oh, you know it.
I thought
David
so. Okay.
Cage, baby.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it looked cool. I didn't really see how you play it on screen, except for the one like choice moment where it was breaking down good versus evil. I thought that was kind of neat, but I don't know. I don't necessarily know if I see the fun on screen for that game.
Yeah,
but
they
I like
showed one other situation where like it looked like you could choose where to go to hide from the police. But yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. Who knows? All they've really shown is like cinematic trailers so far. So it is hard to tell what is actually going to be happening. Like for some reason, I'm envisioning this being sort of like Quantum Break sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's definitely hard to say.
I mean, it looked cooler than I thought it would. And I mean, I liked Heavy Rain, and I'm interested in interactive storytelling, even if the gameplay maybe isn't all there. So I'm interested. I just wish
You need to see more.
Yeah, exactly. But the idea of playing as a robot, during a robot uprising, I feel like is kind of unique. I don't know that there's a lot of there's definitely movies and TV shows that have kind of focused on that, but
Well, and I'm sure they'll have I think they already showed the robot working for the police trying to stop other people, so that's going to come into play, and
right,
all that moral questioning.
Mm-hmm.
Destiny 2, do we want to say anything about that trailer thing? No?
I thought it looked okay. I'm not a huge Destiny fan, so it didn't matter that much to me.
Yeah, I don't know what they changed from like the original Destiny. It sounded like they changed a bunch of stuff.
I mean, it looked like the villain was a little more interesting. I remember initially the story, and I think the villain were the biggest complaints about the original Destiny campaign, so maybe they were showcasing some of that, but
yeah.
I don't know.
All right, last but not least, Spider-Man. They closed with what, probably a 10, 15-minute demo?
it was pretty long, but I think they knew what they were doing when they closed with that thing.
Yeah.
It looked pretty insane.
The set pieces in this are better than Spider-Man recent movies. Like when you're pulling the buildings up and tying them to each part to a different building. I mean, it's QuickTime events, but at least they're cool QuickTime events. I've never been that adverse to QuickTime events, so I could see how someone would be turned off by that. But I just loved even the animations of how he's wrangling people up on the banisters. Definitely you can see the influence of something like the Arkham series on how he's approaching things, definitely, which is fine. But I think it had its own ideas and flair, and the boss battle looked really cool. I don't know. Everything about it impressed me. I was blown away.
And the good thing about the combat is that the Arkham combat fits perfectly with like the spider sense aspect of
that's a good
Spider-Man. Call. So it makes perfect sense. The only thing I'm hoping for, which obviously they didn't show, is I hope it's not just all combat and exploration. I hope they do something like how Batman had the detective moments. I'm hoping for something super nerdy, like mixing up your web formula in the lab as like a scientist. Nerdy Peter Parker. I want something like really change the pace,
there's
like
be some photography stuff
or photography,
pictures. So, but yeah, I mean, there's been good Spider-Man games before, but this is definitely. I mean, it's been a little while, I think, and this is taking it to another level. And I love 100%.
I love Sunset Overdrive, and it's a perfect template or opportunity to reskin that and add to it for Spider-Man. So. I'm in.
Yep.
Looks good.
And that is exclusive for Sony, right?
Yes.
I would think so because it's Insomniac. Although...
No, Sunset Overdrive was Xbox, and so was...
Insomniac did do Fuse or whatever, which is also not exclusive.
I don't know if they did Song of the Deep as well, which was like a GameSpot published game for all platforms.
Oh, yeah, right. The only thing is it looked like there was a lot of like almost like scripted moments in the combat. And I wonder if those, like, you know, where he like kicks the guy out the building and then grabs him back, like, and like with the cranes going off and all that.
Oh yeah,
stuff.
that was. I agree. That is when I said, you know, could I see myself doing the same thing? There was one part with the crane where it rotates it, which I thought was really cool, where he pulls it and knocks him off the building. I could see how that would work, but I'm kind of with you there. And again, some of the hand-to-hand stuff looked like pretty canned, but I would say Uncharted has a lot of canned combat as well.
Yeah.
And I love it, and it's fun in those games as well. So I think there's a blueprint or a template for how to do that stuff well. And I think they'll succeed.
Yeah, except Uncharted's very scripted, like, level design. This seems like it's going to be open world.
I see that a lot of people are speculating on that. I think, like, the missions themselves are going to be really scripted. Like, the one you saw in that is more Uncharted style gameplay, and there may be like an ancillary like exploration mode as well, but once you get in the mission, you follow the path of the mission.
Yeah, although it is interesting because like in part of that gameplay demo you're like chasing after someone and you're just swinging through the streets and from the buildings and all that stuff. And like in past Spider-Man games, it's generally you're in the open world, you're swinging around, and then you go into a building, and it's kind of like mission in the building or something like that. It hasn't combined the two like that. So I am curious how they're pulling that off. Because like as you're chasing the guy, if you swing off in the wrong direction, then what happens, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You probably die and have to start over.
Maybe. I guess that would make sense. But...
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing on my mind when I was watching that was, what are the fail states for this game? Yeah. So
it will be interesting. That's it for Sony. Anything else for Sony for everyone? Anyone?
Don't think so.
No, I thought it was a pretty good press conference, although I have to say, I said it before a couple of years ago when they made these big announcements with Final Fantasy VII and Shenmue 3 and all these games, and these games are still non-existent. Like and Death Stranding was a no-show, and one other game was a no-show too that people were talking about, which I'm not as long as I like the stuff they showed, I'm okay with that. But it has to be brought up that they made a lot of early promises to try to swing the tide of the console war that they are not following through on, at least not until 3 or 4 years later, which is kind of weak in my opinion.
Metal Gear? They didn't show that, right?
No, there's something else. There was something else they showed last year, Death Stranding and another game. Last of Us 2.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
That was just a tease, though, right? That was pretty much...
I don't like moves like that. That really bothers me.
Maybe they're waiting for PSX to show Last of Us 2.
Could be. Still, it's gross.
All right.
Big N?
The Big N. Let's move on.
All right, so they started off with...
Well, they started off with Reggie in the worst written thing I've ever seen in my life. Just a quote here.
Just a quote.
This is how it started. The game is fun. The game is a battle. And then it was like, you can't have a battle without the game, and the game can't be a game without the battle. It was the lamest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
unbearably bad.
The way he ended that intro was really weird too. I can't remember what he said. It was something like, "You can't take the game out of," or no,
yes,
it was like, "What? It's not what you can do for the game, but what the game can do for you," or something like that.
I know, it was terrible. Is anyone familiar with what's the name? Is it the Pharaoh? What's the name of the guy in Mystery Men that just? The joke is he just reverses it as his training. I love that character. 1 sec. We got to get a shout out to this guy because it is amazing. 1 second. Where is it? The Sphinx. The Sphinx in Mystery Men is what I thought I was watching at the beginning of this thing.
Oh, man. Is Mystery Men out on Blu-ray?
No, man.
I gotta rewatch that. Man.
Well, maybe I thought it was out on HD DVD. Maybe it is. I gotta buy that. Maybe I'm sweating a bit. It might be out.
All right, look that up for me, Frank, because I need to pick that up.
All right, I can't. I think I missed some stuff because the first thing I have written down.
I have the whole list here, Huck. If you want.
Oh, okay, sure. Why don't you go?
So the first thing, it cut to Reggie on a beautiful blue field with clouds and a tree. After that, which led into the Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Trailer announcement, I guess. Which I think, do you like this series, Huck?
Yeah, I like the first one. I didn't beat it, but I played it for like 80 hours and then the grind became too overwhelming. So I'm excited for it only because it's this year and it'll give me something else to play on the Switch. So I think I'll pick it up, though I'm not fully on board until I actually see what they changed and how it's evolved from Xenoblade 1.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of interested. The biggest problem with these games is amount of time it takes to play them. But
yeah, that's a good thing about the Switch, though, with the portability and being able to just, power it off quickly, power it back on. You can play for a little bit and then go about your business.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. Mystery Men is available on Blu-ray, Sean.
Nice.
The next one was Kirby, which I think looks a bit like a remake of the original, or because it has the same tree boss. It looked like there was. I've never played the original. I've never been into the Kirby series. Yeah, or the Nintendo first NES one.
Oh yeah, there's one.
But there was some cool stuff. I love the curling. Raw stone when it transformed into that. It looked okay. I mean, yeah, as an $80 game, I don't know if I'd pop on it, but it looked pretty good.
It looked okay. I mean, they announced new Kirby and new Yoshi games, and they both basically had no title. They were just like Kirby for Switch and Yoshi for Switch or something.
I thought those were the titles.
Well, yeah, maybe they are, but I mean, there was something very uninteresting about that because, even I was talking to some people at work before the press conference and we were like, what are they going to announce? And it was just like, we just went through the list probably Kirby, probably Yoshi.
I thought the Yoshi one especially looked boring. It was almost just like egg shooting.
Yeah.
Gallery.
just the presentation, like those videos, the music, everything, and we can talk about Nintendo Treehouse as well. And I guess I'll loop in Fire Emblem Warriors, which is another game announcement for Switch.
Right.
Like, the dialogue in this thing is so lame. If this was any other game company, people would be tearing it apart. And I don't know why Nintendo... everyone's like, whoa, Nintendo blew us away at E3, and everything they do
the
is...
same reason that Breath of the Wild has 10s across the board.
Yeah, it's kind of gross, although there is stuff I'm excited for from Nintendo for sure. But I just thought it was really lackluster, and all those games was just like crickets for me. I'm like, okay, I guess that could be good, but nothing to get me excited, just blah.
Yeah, I mean, I mostly agree with you. I think in terms of like the dialogue and stuff, it's some of this stuff. It's a very Japanese thing. Sony has, Japanese games they bring over here that have ridiculous dialogue, but they don't generally focus on those during E3, probably for that reason. But yeah, I think even just the way Nintendo puts their presentations together, like they kind of try to like get by on this quirkiness. But it at a certain point really just feels not good. And I agree. Like everything,
almost like amateurish.
Yeah,
rather than
exactly.
Quirky.
And
well, the thing is, I have to say, their presentation is second to none. Right, like the look of the Yoshi game and Kirby, like look really, really good, and they feel like close to finished games. Like I like what I see. But I'm just not excited about it. It's not something that I'm going to rush to buy or be counting down the days until I can play it.
Yeah, and they made a point of saying that we're just talking about games that are coming out this year or soon.
Well, okay, well, let's talk about that.
Both those
so
are 2018, though.
Yeah,
Yoshi
exactly. And the next two announcements were, after Kirby, were Pokken Tournament Deluxe, which is like a kind of a Tekken fighting hybrid with Pokemon that was released on the Wii U and is being updated for the Switch. And then the same guy from the Pokemon team was saying, we're also announcing we're working on a new core RPG Pokemon title for the Switch. But we're not going to talk too much about that because we're focusing this E3 presentation on games that are coming out this year.
Yeah.
Next thing right after that, PowerPoint presentation for Metroid Prime 4.
Which apparently a lot of people were losing their shit over. And
anyone can do this.
There's certainly a tingle of excitement for me since every single year I'm like, announce a Metroid, and they did it. But it was like there was so little to go on. Like they didn't even say if Retro was working on it.
And the wording was so awkward.
Yeah.
Like now in development for Nintendo Switch or something like. Well, why would you even announce it if it wasn't in development? Like, why would you talk about it if it wasn't in development? Like,
yeah. To quote Pactor, we know you're working on a Metroid game. Like, duh. Like, you don't have to tell us that. If anything, that was the worst possible Metroid announcement I could have even thought of. Like, it's just Metroid Prime 4. That's it. Like, not a rebranding or like a re-envisioning for
yeah, I mean, I guess
Switch.
The only thing it tells you is they're not continuing with the Other M thing. They're going
which
back
we knew.
to Prime, but yeah.
Other M was clearly its own thing. And
I guess the other thing you can infer is it's probably going to be a 3D game.
Yeah.
Rather than a 2D something.
And yeah, so obviously I'm excited for a new Metroid and a new 3D Metroid. They're some of the best games ever. But in terms of like a rebranding or reintroducing Metroid on the Switch, I thought it was about as lame as it could get.
Yeah. I wanted to see something, anything.
It was almost like they knew their E3 presentation sucked and they needed something for people to talk about.
Exactly. Like Nintendo, they've barely released a game in the last 3 years. Where are the games? I don't understand it.
Yeah. Now, so before we move on from Metroid, I guess we should mention that they did announce another Metroid game, So 2 Metroid games at E3, which is insane. But strangely, they buried it in their Treehouse presentation. I guess because it's not for the Switch, it's for the 3DS. But it is a reimagining of Metroid 2. And it's like 3D, I guess 2.5D. Is that what you would say? Like it's 2D gameplay, but the graphics are 3D.
And I think it's a remake of Metroid 2 for Game Boy.
Yeah, something like that. And
I mean, it looks pretty cool. I'm super excited about that.
I actually found that surprising. I'm surprised that they're actually putting first-party 3DS games out still.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of nuts. Like, why is that on 3DS and not on the Switch? But, I mean, I don't know how long it was in development for. Like, it's coming out in September, so...
Yeah, and there's a huge install base on the 3DS, too, so...
But it's just funny because they put out that Federation Force game last year, or was that even this year? I don't remember, but people were, like, so angry that they hadn't put out a Metroid game in a while, and then they put this thing out. And all they would have had to say is, oh, actually, we have another Metroid game we're working on. And they just didn't say anything until now, and they buried it. Like, I don't get it. It's so weird. But I'm excited.
I don't get it either.
Like in 4 months or whatever, 3 months.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, that seems like a prime spot for a press conference.
Yeah. So, but yeah, the Switch stuff was pretty underwhelming, I think. The Super Mario Odyssey, they showed a bunch of stuff, and it looks different.
I think it looks pretty cool. The gameplay I saw briefly in the Treehouse, I wasn't ecstatic about, but the actual trailer, I thought looked amazing.
I like the trailer. I agree. I like the trailer.
And probably next to Spider-Man, the best thing I saw at E3.
I don't know if I'd go that far, but I'm just surprised that it is coming out this year, because I thought for sure, we haven't mentioned the Rabbids, Mario Rabbids crossover thing.
Before we pass,
it's coming up. It's coming up.
Alex showed me that some guy has modded into Super Mario 64 the hat throwing and possession ability of Odyssey. So if you go to like Kotaku, you'll see that some guy has posted a video playing Mario 64. He could throw his hat, jump off it, possess all the things in Mario 64. So basically, you can go and play Mario Odyssey right now in Mario 64, which is
that's amazing.
Incredible. Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So what? He just put it together in the last couple of days?
I don't know. I guess so. Or maybe from the first trailer. He started working on it.
Was that mechanic shown in the first trailer? I don't remember.
Just the jumping off the hat was, and there may have been some small things that alluded to it in the first clip. But I mean, I don't know how much I love like the idea of the city in Mario. I don't like that, but the worlds themselves look pretty fantastic. And just even that one kind of nighttime world where it's like almost looks like a Mac Tonight commercial. Do you remember from McDonald's with that guy with the moon?
Yep.
that level looks amazing. And the dinosaur thing, I'm not, looks kind of cheesy, but I'm in. And I agree with you, Sean. Them saying it's out this year, that's pretty big. I mean, regardless of the rest of their lineup, whether I'm digging it or not, I got a Zelda game and a Mario game in the same year. So
yes,
that's
they announced October.
Got to count for
27.
something, yeah.
They have the must-have title for this holiday season, I think. I mean,
I agree.
Destiny 2, Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed, those games are going to be huge too, but this is the game, I think. And that's huge. And I thought because they had that Mario Rabbids crossover thing, that was going to be their holdover. That's why they were doing that collaboration with Ubi, was so that they could say, oh, actually, Super Mario Odyssey won't be out till next year. But apparently not. So that was impressive.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And I guess before that, they announced, before the Rabbids collaboration, they announced Zelda DLC, packs 1 and 2, I think, which seem okay, I guess. Nothing.
Yeah, is there really much new? I would just want more levels and content, but it seems like it's just stuff to make the game harder or...
Yeah, there's that Hero's Path mode, I think, which tracks your exploration. I don't know, to be honest. But it was... I mean, I remember seeing the Mario Kart 8 DLC.
Yeah.
And being like, wow, that is DLC I have to buy.
Yeah, that stuff was good.
I don't know if this is I have to buy it DLC.
Yeah, it's not... Like you mentioned how Sony generally, the first-party DLC stuff they do is really good, and this is not that level, I don't think.
Even Microsoft has had some good first-party stuff. The Hot Wheels expansion on Horizon and a few other things. Like, we'll see. I mean, the second one, I haven't played enough of Zelda to know what all these champions mean in the context of the game or playing as them, what that might do, but it sounds like it could be cool.
The champions, once you help them or whatever, they give you a special ability that you take with you for the rest of the game.
Okay.
They also announced amiibos of the champions, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Huge.
And then after this was Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, which was the lead-off game of Ubisoft's press conference for like 15 minutes with Yves Guillemot and Shigeru Miyamoto showing it off. Now, when they came out, they had these huge plastic guns on them. I was thinking, my first thought immediately was, this is going to be Nintendo doing, I guess, kind of like Garden Warfare version or some kind of shooter co-op game. Yeah, but I guess they have that with Splatoon, or I think that would be their argument. So it ended up being a turn-based strategy game.
Yeah, like XCOM.
And, I mean, there were some cool new things. I don't play that much of that genre, so I'm not that excited. But kind of the combo things and shooting people up onto different levels of the stage, bouncing on characters and expanding your zone looked kind of neat, but I don't know if I'm that excited to play it, to be honest.
I think I'm in on Mario and Rabbids. Like before E3, it was kind of the biggest WTF kind of leaked announcement for E3, and it didn't seem to make a lot of sense, but seeing what the game actually is, I think I would pick it up and I think I would play it. Like, it's obviously more in Huck City's zone than mine, but as I said to Huck City, I like the strategy games that I do tend to get into are usually the Nintendo ones because they simplify and streamline things. And
I definitely agree with you there. Like, even Hero, is it Advance Wars or that series? And I haven't played much Fire Emblem, but what I played of Advance Wars was the most I've gotten into a game like this. So I agree.
Yeah, I think I'll definitely be picking it up. I mean, it looks just like XCOM with Mario and Rabbids. I just don't know how much the Rabbids will annoy me or frustrate me, but I think if the reviews are decent, I'll definitely be picking this one up.
I feel like Kieran would love the Rabbids, Sean.
Oh, yeah, I think so. Definitely. I don't know if the strategic gameplay is up his alley, but yeah, he'd be interested.
Okay, I think that's it for EA or for Nintendo.
The other announcement was Rocket League.
Oh, yeah.
But whatever. I agree.
I mean, yeah, it's a good fit for what they want to do with the Switch with, multiplayer games, but...
So there's the big three. Do we want to just quickly go through some of the bigger announcements from the other ones?
Yeah, I guess we should.
Okay, so out of EA, one of the ones I found, well, there was two actually, I guess. Need for Speed Payback was announced, and I actually thought this looked pretty interesting. It kind of looked almost like a Fast and the Furious video game where they try to weave story, but then take the Burnout style crashing aspect of the game and merge it into some sort of, action-y car racing game.
Yeah, it kind of makes me wonder why nobody has done a Fast and Furious video game. I know they had a Forza DLC or something, right?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
But, there's never been an actual full-on game, right?
No, that's a good point. So. Thank God.
It could be interesting.
So that I thought looked neat.
I thought it looked pretty good.
The other game they announced was A Way Out, which was the co-op, I think, jailbreak game.
Oh, shit. Did I say that on Xbox? I'm wrong. Yeah, that was EA. Sorry.
Yeah.
But they did show it at, I thought they showed it at Microsoft as well.
No, I don't think so.
No?
No, I don't think so, no.
Okay.
Yeah, so this game looked pretty neat. It's made by the same guys that made Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons with the like dual joystick controls, kind of like Embers of Miriam. And it definitely is interesting, but the guy stressed, the creative director, that it's like a co-op first experience, co-op only experience.
Yeah.
And almost couch co-op mandatory.
Yeah. So, I mean, for us, that's pretty much a barrier to entry that we can't get through. Like, unless we really work to devote like a specific time down. Now, I think he alluded that there would be online co-op
I'm
ability.
assuming they're gonna like you gotta have online. I don't think you can release a couch co-op only game in this day and age,
especially of that like high quality.
Yeah.
So
I have to say, the one thing I heard about it sounded amazing. Like a simple thing that hasn't been done in games, like where you break out of the prison, and one of the first things you have to decide is who gets the gun. Like there's only one gun, one person gets it.
Yeah,
like decisions like that are a cool idea that have not been exploited in games that much. So if it's a lot of stuff like that and ideas like that, I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the trailer, I don't think did a great job of showing off what it could be or anything, but I think just the premise alone, I'm in on this.
Yeah, it looks pretty neat. Pretty neat. One thing that EA did, which I found strange from like a developer standpoint, is they announced that Seed division. Do you guys remember this part of the announcement? It's kind of like an internal studio within EA that works on developing cool new ideas, and they don't make any games. It almost looks like they just make game tech. And I just found it strange that they took the time on the E3 stage to talk about this sort of thing instead of going and like talking about that at like a GDC or something like that. I don't know exactly why.
Yeah, I don't know. I must have been dropping lid during this part, but
it was. I'm pretty sure it was right after the Way Out part. Yeah, it just seemed odd.
Yeah.
Other than that, they showed more Anthem, or no, they teased Anthem, and then they showed more at Microsoft.
Madden looked pretty good on Xbox One X. They showed some visuals from that.
Yeah,
and it looked pretty amazing. You must have been drooling a bit on that, huh?
I don't know. I don't really put much effort on it. They're actually switching over to the Frostbite engine for Madden 18. So I'm a little hesitant that they're going to fuck something up.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. I think that's really it for.
Well, they said NBA 18 has been totally reworked to have more of the twin stick mechanics.
Yeah, I'll believe when I see it.
I agree, but I would like to see that. I feel like basketball games have gotten a little too repetitive for me. So if they could bring the type of innovation that NHL brought with the twin stick style of control,
yep.
I would be in. And I thought there was one other thing.
Well, they had lots of Battlefront 2 stuff.
Oh yeah, that's it. But I am pumped for prequel stuff in Battlefront 2.
Nice.
The battle droids looked amazing.
Yeah, they do look pretty cool.
And I have to say, I'm excited for a single-player campaign in that as well.
Yeah. I must say the Twitch-style streaming multiplayer match demo they tried to do was not very well done. They had a lot of camera switching issues where the guys were trying to describe something, and then all of a sudden whoever was controlling the camera feed would switch it on them. And they could have done better to improve.
Well, when they focused a lot on Battlefront, and they brought the one of the female
the lead
character, from the game, the actress who plays her, and you could tell stuff like that does not go over well in a video game audience. It's people are just cringing. That's why I totally agree with Sony's approach. Just show videos.
Yeah, we didn't get a chance to talk about the Nintendo Treehouse host.
Oh,
I didn't see any of the Treehouse stuff.
They were brutal.
I talked about it last year too, and it's just so boring.
Yeah. I mean,
I almost I prefer it to some YouTubers that are like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Yeah,
They just scream the whole time. Like I don't
like putting on fake enthusiasm, like to an extreme as well. But this was too much in the other direction.
Oh, I guess the other thing they did announce at EA was Battlefield 1 DLC. So it sounds like instead of putting out a new Battlefield game, they're just going to support it with DLC, at least for this year, which is interesting. Way to do it. I would have thought they would try to force out another Battlefield game, but
they did the same thing with 4.
Oh, did
4
they?
They supported for at least 2 years, I think, with DLC.
Oh, okay. Bethesda had the Doom VR, Fallout 4 VR,
Skyrim for Switch, which
yes.
I'm not that crazy about, but seeing the Master Sword in first person is kind of neat.
Yeah. Dishonored DLC. I don't know. Did anyone play Dishonored 2?
No. I want to. People love that game.
I really like Dishonored 1, but have not got around to it.
I think Dishonored 2 might have gotten Game of the Year from IGN or something.
Yeah, I'd believe it. Evil Within 2, which was a crazy, fucked up trailer. And that comes out this year. And then Wolfenstein 2, which also comes out this year.
Yeah, there was some weird trippy stuff with like acid and all this stuff going on in Wolfenstein, which looked kind of neat. I liked Wolfenstein, the last one. Kind of excited for this. But I do love how Bethesda has the it's out this year approach. Everything you see there will be out soon. So I've always applauded them for that approach to E3.
Yeah, although a lot of people continue to criticize them that they shouldn't have their own press conference because they don't have enough stuff to support it, which is kind of true. But
did you guys watch the Devolver Digital press conference?
Oh yeah,
no,
that was an interesting affair. That's really it for Bethesda.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ubisoft had the Mario and Rabbids, which you already talked about. AC Origins, The Crew 2, which seems to have added cars, boats, off-roading, planes.
Yeah, some of the boats and stuff looked cool. I got a bit of a wave race vibe from that.
Yeah, it seemed like everything looked really solid as far as like gameplay modes.
That's what Nintendo needed to announce for the Switch this year.
The Crew 2?
Wave race.
Oh, Wave Race, yeah. That would have been good. Oh, the new South Park trailer, October 17th. Transference VR, which they had like a sort of, that was the Elijah Wood trailer thingy they showed, which I don't know exactly what to think of that, but obviously they're going for some sort of horror type psychological thriller VR experience.
That's the one with Elijah Wood, right?
Yeah. So that one could be interesting, but who knows what that actually is. That's spring 2018, so that's quite a ways out still. Then they showed Skull and Bones, which is the basically Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag boat only game.
Well, that's actually looked really cool, and at first I was excited. I thought it was essentially a new Black Flag, which I would love, but apparently it's online only, I think, or like competitive only.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't get that from the trailer. That's interesting.
I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think it is. But it might not be, because For Honor, I think, is mostly that. But I think there was definitely a single player component to For Honor as well.
Mm-hmm. What else they got here? Starling? I think, which was by Ubisoft Toronto. And it's like a space shooter game, it looks like. Where
it's a Toys to Life
type thing where you connect the spaceship to your controller. And depending on what toys you have connected to your controller, that's what spaceship you have in game. You can like swap in different weapons based on the toy you have.
Well, yeah, but I think the weapons are interchangeable, so you can like have I think primary and secondary weapon that you swap in and out on the fly. So like you can just do it while you're playing, swap one out and put one in.
Buy weapon packs only.
No, I think there's multiple ships and different weapon packs, I think. So I'm assuming that, I should say, based on.
So I don't know.
What
the Toys to Life thing's not really for me.
I thought the art style looked pretty cool.
I would be happy playing that just as a regular game.
Felt a little No Man's Sky-ish to me, but maybe a bit better.
For me, it felt almost like Freelancer. You guys ever play Freelancer? It's like a PC game from
familiar.
10 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'd like to see a bit more of like what the actual gameplay is like, I think.
So do we know some people working on that?
We do.
Interesting.
I wrote down Fairy 5, but I have no idea what
Far Cry 5?
Oh, yeah, Far Cry 5. Yeah, so I mean, I think we've already seen basically that trailer or something similar to it.
Well, there was some gameplay stuff too that I thought looked really neat, and I thought the dog actually looked better than the dog in most games I've played, like how it helps you and brings weapons back to you. I don't know, I love Far Cry Primal, and
you love animals.
I do, and I like the setting, which is like Middle America for this Far Cry, so I'm intrigued.
And then the last thing was the Beyond Good and Evil 2
Booyah.
movie they showed.
Which was a surprise, because I think they had originally said we're not showing anything from it.
Yeah.
And then dropped it.
Boom. And then the guy came out and cried on stage.
Yeah.
Well, the quality of the CGI video was amazing. I thought it looked really cool.
Yeah,
I liked all
really
the character design. Wasn't crazy about the swearing and writing. Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. But the swearing and dialogue, I was out on for sure.
Yeah,
yeah, it was a bit much, especially like the original Beyond Good and Evil was not, anything gritty or like. I'm interested, and I'm kind of sold on the like photorealistic anthropomorphic animals.
Yeah.
But yeah, just making it this gritty, like R-rated thing did not feel like what I expected from Beyond Good and Evil. And
yeah, and I liked the first one too, right? Yeah, I liked how the first one was an adventure game. They really almost made this sound like it's kind of a team-based co-op, massive multiplayer thing. So, I mean, it could be cool. We saw very little. I don't want to say it's. I'm not excited, because I definitely am. It was cool to have it announced officially. Just wasn't exactly what I was expecting.
Yeah.
That's a wrap.
That's
E3 in a nutshell. In a big 2-hour-long nutshell.
Yeah, and was there anything outside of the press conferences? We already kind of asked that, but I don't think there was much else that I heard about. So, obviously, the big question: who won E3?
I think I would say Sony, but not by much.
Yeah, I agree. If I was ranking press conferences, I would probably go Sony, but not like by much. Ubisoft, Xbox, Nintendo, EA.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really torn because I think Nintendo probably had the worst press conference, but they had two very exciting announcements, and then just again the fact that Super Mario Odyssey, like I feel like they had one of the big games that they were showing off, and that will be out this year, which is a big deal. But everything else was a wash. Like there's very little to get excited about there. So, but yeah, I think Sony probably won. But even thinking about it, all the stuff that I'm excited about is kind of stuff I already knew about. And I don't know.
Well, to me, it felt like an E3 where no one was bad. I don't think anyone had a bad showing at E3, even Nintendo, even though I wasn't excited about a lot. I know there are a lot of people who thought they showed amazing stuff. And I don't think anyone was heads and tails the winner either. I could see people, like even announcing a new console is a big deal for Xbox and Microsoft. So I don't know. I thought it was all around pretty good E3. There's a lot to look forward to.
Definitely lots of games in 2018.
Yeah, and beyond. Okay, so should we just count down our top fives?
Let's do it.
All right, go for it, Huck City.
Okay, my number 5. I'm gonna put Need for Speed Payback in there. I'm kind of excited to try a little story-driven Fast and Furious style burnout-y game.
Okay. Are we just you might as well just go through the whole...
Oh, okay. Number 4, the Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle XCOM game.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, Uncharted Lost Legacy. Looking forward to return to puzzles and less action and walking around. Number 2, Spider-Man. And number 1, The Last Night for the visual amazingness.
All right. This was a tricky list to come up with, but I will go. Number 5, Assassin's Creed Origins. Never thought that would happen, but I am pretty stoked for this game. Number 4, Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Very excited. Don't know that the trailer showed all that much. Forgot to mention they had the guy playing a little piano intro live on stage.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a little kind of borderline
live
pretentious,
accompaniment.
but I was okay with it. Number 3, A Way Out. Again, one of the few brand new games announced that had a pretty cool premise, interesting team working on it, and I'm definitely looking forward to that. Number 2, Metroid Samus Returns. Obviously, gotta mention that. I mean, Metroid Prime 4 is exciting, but there's nothing to talk about. Yeah, we already knew they were probably going to be working on something. And number 1, definitely Spider-Man.
For me, number 5, Shadow of the Colossus remaster. I should say my picks are more based on surprise for the most part, or how impressed I was. Anthem, number 4, came out of nowhere, thought it looked amazing. Number 3, Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Not surprised that a sequel's announced, but wasn't expecting it. I'm sorry. I'm not surprised that they're making a sequel to the game. I didn't know it was going to be this soon or announced this soon. Number 2, Super Mario Odyssey being out this year and looking pretty amazing. And from what I hear from the show floor, plays amazing as well. So, jacked.
You got the inside scoop on that, Frank?
Just some online reading. And number 1, Spider-Man. I love Insomniac, and it looks like a game, and I am
That's going to be a
pumped.
platinum all over Frank.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, it probably goes without saying, but just, the fact that it's a Spider-Man game and it's not tied to any of the movies or anything like that, like they're clearly just doing their own thing. And, I think it's going to be on the level of the Batman Arkham games for sure.
Well, I think, that's another way that it's influenced by that series as well, right?
Yeah. All right.
Killer.
That's it.
Well, Sean, it's pretty late. It's 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Are you going to download ARMS right away and get some ARMS in before bed?
I don't know. Is there any midnight launches happening? Or
Oh, it's out. It should be out at midnight. They usually are available right at midnight, so you can download it.
I want the physical copy, man.
Are you fucked? That's the whole point of the Switch.
Yeah, I guess.
You're not digital. You're physical on Switch?
Well, I've only bought 3 games, and
Yeah, you bought them physically.
1 was physical and 2 were digital. So
Oh, okay. But they're only available digitally, right?
yeah.
Gross.
So, was there anything else you guys played that you wanted to mention, or were we
No,
just
I can
Platinum
say I played a bit
Horizon.
of Rime. A bit of Rime, and I played about an hour and a half, not really digging it. So I know that game came out kind of recently.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I'll go back to it, actually. It was basically a pretty straightforward game. Looks pretty, looks kind of similar to The Witness. And I think it's supposed to be that sort of like Abzu Journey style of not really telling you what to do, just pointing you in some rough directions, and you kind of use your voice to unlock doors. And there are little puzzles here and there, but so far none of them have been super interesting and hasn't really captured me. So I don't think I'll be going back. I think that's really the only thing I've played. I've been trying to catch up to Frank on Neo, but that's a big game.
Yeah. Hey, Frank, I did pick up the Disney Saturday whatever.
Disney Afternoon Collection.
Yeah. And so you remember we were talking about the price point of that, right?
Yeah, you were crying, you were whining, and
yeah. Well, so the weird thing is, like, when you called me out on that, I was like thinking to myself, yeah, you're right. $19.99 doesn't seem that expensive. What's the problem? It's $19.99 US, so it was actually like 27 or 28 here. So I ended up getting it on sale for about $19.99, I think. So.
Oh yeah, it was on sale. But I mean, still, like, if you buy digitally through the store, you don't pay tax on it. So do less 1.13%. Come on, Sean. Like, that's $6. Big deal.
It all adds up. It all adds up. That's all I'm saying. But yeah. I'm all tangled in these wires here. We had some serious technical difficulties getting this episode recorded tonight. It's just a mess.
It does look kind of spiderweb-like over there. Very E3.
That's better. All right, so anything else you guys need to mention?
Don't think so.
Another E3, it's come and gone.
Yeah. So we'll be back for what, Tokyo Game Show?
What's the next big thing?
Embers of Miram reveals.
Well, I mean, yeah, for sure that, but like
Lost Legacy, maybe?
Maybe, yeah, because it should be shorter, I think, too.
Yeah.
And I am so pumped in 2 weeks for Crash Bandicoot Collection. Oh my god, they better not fuck this up.
Did you guys do any of the E3 pre-order stuff?
No.
It's actually the first year I've done some of that. And I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, I pre-ordered like Spider-Man before they even had the trailer, and so I feel like confident that with that choice, I pre-ordered God of War.
Why are you pre-ordering things?
Well, because you get the deal, man.
What deal?
Yeah, you get it for $50 if you pre-order. It's a good deal.
Yeah, it's for stuff
like
that
10% off type thing.
More than 10%, but yeah, like it. I think it's worth it if it's stuff that you know you're going to buy no matter what. That's
sure.
How I
that
look
makes
at
sense.
It's almost like 40%. It's close to 40% off, isn't it?
Something like that, yeah. They had it at like Walmart, Amazon, and Best Buy all had things going on. Slightly different things.
What if I want a digital copy through the PSN storefront?
That's the problem.
Frank is definitely hoping for that one of these days.
Oh, they don't.
Yeah, it's almost 40% off.
Huh. They don't have the digital like.
Oh no, is it more?
Walmart or anything like that? I guess they wouldn't.
I mean, they do, but it wouldn't be part of the pre-order deal.
That's a shame. That's a shame.
Yeah, if you buy physical copies of games, that is the way to go. Buy. This should be your Christmas. Or Black Friday, or whatever the fuck. Just buy everything right now.
Well, the thing is, too, they in most cases, I believe, you can pre-order them, and then you can have, like, I know for sure, somebody told me with Amazon, you can tell them not to ship it for the first week or something, so you can wait and see what the reviews are like, and then decide if you actually want it or not.
Really?
Strange. Kind of, yeah.
Well, you can always have them ship it and return it, too.
Yeah, you can always return it, that's true.
But I think that's deal. It might be dead as of now at midnight tonight. So
I think it is. I think it's already gone.
Got to buy arms instead.
All right, I guess that's it. So stay tuned to Facebook.com/GameJunk, at GameJunk Podcast on Twitter, FilmJunk.com, GameJunkPodcast.com, all that stuff. And you can follow us on Twitter at MyAngryCommute, at Equilibrium Sis,
yep,
at Dirty Frank with 3 R's and Dirty, and at Film Junk. Until next time, we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.